what exactly defines an elite deck in Marvel Snap? It really comes down to 3 foundational core attributes. Number 1 is a deck that remains unpredictable throughout the match to trick your opponent to win as many cubes as possible. Number 2 is a deck that has consistent draws that give you the ability to have key cards or combos that you can set up and identify the early snap moment. And then lastly, number 3, we've got a mixture of the 3 in counter plays, being able to counter what the opponent throws at you, matching the power on the board or giving them junk on their side, and location-friendly cards that don't get affected by a lot of different locations. Unlike really any deck in Marvel Snap, the Sera Miracle is different. It focuses on flooding the board with an explosive turn 6 that not only deceives your opponent, but sets you up for a high consistent cube wins with loads of options. However, I'm going to warn you, it's complicated. This is not a deck you can just look at and play. You're going to have to understand it, practice it, and learn the core strategy. But the payoff is huge if you're willing to master it, as you can climb ranks very easily, even if your only card is Sera in Pool 2. Now, yes, I can simply show you a picture of the deck. In fact, here it is, right here. But learning how to play it, that's the key. Here's a look at today's deck guides lineup. We've got ourselves the deck breakdown with the MVPs, the essentials, the core combos, and the optional cards, followed by a turn-by-turn strategy for the first time ever in a deck guide that I've done. I'm going to go through counters and weaknesses, the decks you can run, and then finally, obviously, some example matches to kick some tail with one of the best. As always, let's start out this deck guide with the MVPs. But this time there's no S because there's only one MVP, the core heartbeat of the deck, Sera. So Sera is going to reduce all the cards by 1 energy, which arguably on turn 5 going into turn 6 doesn't seem like a big deal. However, this allows Sera to flood the board for an explosive turn 6, and it's just so much power at once that your enemy cannot match it. Now, unlike other decks, there's not a core list of cards that you need to play with Sera. Hell, it's one of the best skeletons of decks in the game because there's so many different options. But which cards do you want to play with Sera? Now, that's an easy answer. It's the biggest discount on the board. By playing loads of 2-cost cards, you're getting the full 50% off discount of energy to value. For example, a 3-cost card is only getting about 33% of a discount on value. So by filling our deck with all these 2-cost 50% off options, this is where the power comes in. So let's talk the essentials. Again, this deck is a little bit different as we're going to focus on combos rather than a lot of cards. And with the majority of you guys coming from Pool 2 into early Pool 3, I'll keep it light on the Pool 3 cards. But first, I'm going to give you the best option. I'll give you a Pool 2 only with Sera option, and then mix and match some different combos. But I implore you, explore this shell. Mix, match, create, because there's a lot of things that work as long as you get the core concepts down. Now, as for the essential cards that I like from Pool 2 into Pool 3, we've got 3 core staples with 2 recommendations. First up, we have Angela, a very strong 2-cost that obviously fits into this deck, with another great scaling card in Bishop. These 2 cards you're going to place on either the same location, or sometimes you can separate them for maximum power. After all, not every time are you going to pull Sera, but we'll get to that later. Now, the third option that I like for an essential card is going to be Scarlet Witch. And the main reason Scarlet Witch is here is, first of all, she's a great card. I run her in most of my decks. But second of all, this deck can completely not work if it comes down to a couple locations that, again, we'll cover later in the video. But she's an insurance policy to change up any unfavorable locations that might happen. Then lastly, for the essential, we have 2 Pool 3 cards. Again, I'll have different options here, but if you have them, you have to use them. We have both Mojo and Mysterio. Mojo is huge for a turn 6 giant point swing, and Mysterio works perfectly in combos with Bishop. Next up, let's talk combos. Again, this deck is all about using and executing these combos at the right time for the maximum benefit. There's loads of different options here. The main 2 are the ones that you want to stick with if you have the cards. But if you don't, I wanted to give you guys as many options as possible because Pool 3 is just so big. And you can plug in different options. We'll go through those as well. But let's start out with the Destroy option combo. Now, this Destroy combo is going to fill 2 important roles. Number 1, you guys know it from the Destroy deck guide. We have the powerhouse play of Bucky Barnes, and we can activate that with either Carnage or Deathlock. So it is key to have both of these destroy options in the deck, because if you do pull Bucky Barnes, when you have them both, it gives you about a less than 5% chance to not be able to destroy Bucky and create that mass amount of power. Lastly, in this destroy package, we've got Nova. And we're going to use him in a little bit of an untraditional way with our next combo, the Disruption package. Combined with the destroy package, the Disruption combo is absolutely huge to get the opponent on our level. We're going to use cards like Green Goblin and, most importantly, Debris to fill up their spaces to prevent Wong combos and, again, get them on our level and have them not be able to have power that they can keep up with us. Now, quickly, with some other options, you do have access to these other combos that you can use. We have one that's all about power, relying on Forge, Brood, and Mr. Sinister to fill up the board quickly with a mass amount of cards at great value. We have Blade, Calling Wing, and Strong Guy, which is going to be awesome to go ahead and power up that Strong Guy. He is a 4-cost, but he can slip into this deck with the power of Calling Wing and Blade that you can play on turn 6 as well. And then lastly, we've got America Chavez and Dracula. Now, obviously, Dracula is a great card, and by inserting America Chavez, yes, you can play her if you don't pull Sera. However, with America Chavez, you give yourself about a 9% more chance to pull Sera, which obviously can't be overlooked. These combos that we just talked about obviously exist that if you don't pull Sera, you got to do one of two things. Either retreat and sacrifice that 1 cube to win mini 8 cubes later on, or you can sometimes win with the right draw curve and just depending on the location and who you're playing. Now, in addition to these combos, if you don't have those cards or you want to try some other strong, high-value options, you can play cards like Killmonger to counter a lot of those Pool 1 and Pool 2 Zoo-reliant decks. Lizard is obviously great value if you can strategically play him. Now, some other strong value options are 2 Elite Pool 3 cards if you are lucky enough to pull them. We have Maximus and Polaris, and both of these are fantastic. They have high power, low cost, both of them only costing 2 on turn 6 with Sera on the board, and they both have abilities that you would think are a con, but Maximus, it's turn 6, so it doesn't matter if they have cards outside of like Devil Dinosaur. And Polaris, I actually think her ability is a pro. You can mess up control decks. If there's Space Throne, you can drag a 1-cost card over there, so very strong cards as well. Next up, we have Captain America and Wolfsbane. Both of these also have obviously great value with only costing 2, and with all the cards we have on the board, you get maximum value out of both of them. And Black Widow works as well to disrupt your opponent and give you a turn 2 play. All right, so you know the cards. We're going to get to the decks, but let's talk strategy. Now, this is not like other decks. You need to know what you're going to do going in, and you simply can't just play cards based on their value because, again, we want that explosive turn 6. Now, this strategy is going to be focused on the 2 core combos. Let's jump in turn by turn. Turn 1. Now, often on turn 1, you actually, wait for it, don't want to do anything. If you're running the core package of Destroy and Disrupt, you don't want to give away what you're doing. Now, you can play Nova, but you definitely want to get the most value out of your cards. And if you play Bucky Barnes before Nova, that's 1 extra power point for Nova, and we're not going to plan on destroying him till turn 6 anyway. Next up, turn 2. Now, this can be a complicated turn as you don't have a lot of card options to play because a lot of the things you want to do will ruin your combos. Angela is always a must-play if you have her there. You want to start creating a huge presence and strong location for you. Bucky Barnes is also an option. You can play Scarlet Witch if you get a bad location. But by no means do you want to play Carnage, Mojo, or Mysterio on this turn. We need them later on. Next up is turn 3. Now, this is a very easy turn. You're going to play according to this graphic. You want to play Bishop if you have him, no matter what. This is a obviously great scaling card to get out early, followed by either Debris or Goblin, depending on the situation. Debris to fill up that board if they're trying to build a combo, and Green Goblin obviously on Super Flow and Space Throne obvious locations, or if you just don't have another play. Now, lastly, you can use this turn for a couple other options. You could play Deathlock by himself on a lane to contest that, or you can blow up Bucky and get that combo started early if you don't have Nova and things are looking down. On to turn 4. Now, this is a calculation turn. If you like math, awesome. If you don't, get used to it. You're going to evaluate the locations, the cards in your hands, and you're going to try to figure out what deck that opponent is playing, right? You're going to want to counter what they're doing, and on turn 4, that is the turn to do so. You don't want to play too many cards on this turn. You want to start planning those combos that you'll be doing on turn 6, because likely hopefully at this time you have Sera. So you want to start trying to plan your turn 6. But by all means, you definitely play cards like Strong Guy or 1 or 2 options at hand. Turn 5, this one's easy, guys. It's obviously Sera. Now, we didn't talk about too much with Bishop and Angela. You can split them up. You can put them in the same lane. It's going to depend on what your opponent is doing. Play Sera in Angela's lane for the most part, unless Angela and Bishop are together. Then you can play her in another lane. But clearly, play Sera on a location that you want to win. And then, like I said before, option 2, you don't have Sera. And at this point, you got to evaluate, right? Do you retreat and only lose 1, maybe 2 cubes? Or if things went well and it looks like you're dominating and you got some good combos on the board, then, you know, don't snap, but go into turn 6. Lastly, turn 6, the grand finale. Now, if you've done everything we talked about before, you always want to snap before turn 6. That's why this deck is so great, because it's easy to identify when to snap. But on turn 6, you're going to want to play your enormous combos, obviously the ones that you have planned. Your best are going to be the Destroy package, so the Nova Carnage Bucky to give yourself some big bonus to the other cards, or Deathlock on Bucky. You can also play Bishop if you got him at this time and follow all of the cards behind him, as you're going to be playing a multiple amount of cards. You can also be super cheeky on this turn. If your enemy has a location with 3 cards, you can play Debris on another location, place a rock on that side, and then put Mojo there, and it's just a mass amount of power. And we also save Mysterio for this turn for several reasons. Now, first of all, Mysterio with Bishop is an absolutely busted combo for about 8 immense quick power. But on top of that, you can play that and then Carnage to give Carnage an extra 2 power as well. Mysterio is a game-winning option. And then for like a rare last scenario, if you have like a Sanctum or a Death Domain that neither of you guys can play for, one thing I like to do is throw down Debris, then you blow up the Destruction package. You give yourself 1 point on that rock at that location, and you won that. So what are the few counters that this deck has? And mainly it's locations. Dream Dimension or this damn location right here are pretty much instant retreats. Now TVA, Crimson Cosmos, Hellfire Club, the Raft, the Vault, locations that close things down early sucks because you have so many cards to play. You really don't want that to happen. You can still win with those other locations. You don't have to retreat, but it's a lot harder. Now, putting it all together, let's take a look at the decks. Now, remember, there's not one true Sera deck to rule them all, but the one that's going to take advantage of the different combos we talked about today is going to be this main Pool 3 Light Sera deck. We also have different options for Pool 2. We have a discard-friendly Pool 2 deck, and then we have one with the Destroy package. So, again, you can mix and match depending on your cards. And then we have some other Pool 3 options. Let's jump into some example matches. Before we do that, I want to let you guys know this deck is not for everybody, right? I've played a lot of matches with it, but I don't climb with it. I don't find it super enjoyable for myself, but other people are addicted and love it. So it just depends, and if you don't like it, don't play it. Again, it takes a lot of practice, so you have to get used to it. All right, let's continue the journey. We've got our next battle, and quite the opening hand. We've got ourselves Mysterio, Deathlock, Angela, and Bishop. Remember, every single Sera deck is going to be different, and every single draw is going to be different. Don't panic if you don't get Sera right off the bat, but we did get 2 core staples to get this deck to work, even without her, in Angela and Bishop. So it's turn 2, and we have Crimson Cosmos, somewhat of a tough location to play around with this deck. We have Atlantis, and the reason why this one, by the way, is so tough is because Scarlet Witch is not going to be able to change that. We've got Angela is going to be the obvious play. Atlantis, we can maybe put Bishop there if we want to separate the two together. He is going to be playing Okoye into Nightcrawler. And let's see what our next location is, guys. We've got Onslaught Citadel. So this is fantastic. If we can pull Sera, this just makes 3-cost cards get ridiculous value. Obviously, because Sera doesn't get played until turn 5, we can't take much use of that before then. And Mojo can work there, a couple cards. So just the middle and the right lane are the ones I'll identify to go ahead and try to win the game. Because of that, and because I'm going to rely on Sera going on Onslaught Citadel, I'm going to be putting Bishop in the middle. And because Bishop is going to need Mysterio to get, some big power, really, we're not going to get the advantage of Atlantis either way. So I'm actually going to change my mind. We're going to put Bishop in and create that powerful Angela Bishop lane like we talked about in the video. And here we go. Let's see what we get on turn 4. We got the Sera pull. Absolutely huge. Was summoning that with every bit of luck that I had. We've got a great hand. A very good hand going into turn 5. Now, we've got to start doing our math now, right? It's turn 4. We know we can do a Mojo surprise. We've got both Deathlock and Carnage. We don't have Nova or Bucky. We have Mysterio to boost up our Bishop, right? So, a few different options that we could run at this moment. And because of this, we don't have a lot to do on this specific turn. If I'm being honest, not a lot at all. Because he's playing somewhat heavy on the right side, we can't play Mojo here. That's fine. We can go ahead and do that. And then I'll probably go ahead and play... if I had to guess, I'll probably not play anything but the Mysterio on that right side. And Mojo will get the effectiveness. We looked out huge as he is playing 4 cards there either way. So that's definitely going to be a lane winner. And he's playing, obviously, the discard deck here. So Sera doesn't need to go here. We're going to win that either way. We can pop in Mysterio there if we need to. I can throw Sera over here. Kind of multiple things that we could do at this point. So let's go and throw Sera in the middle here and get some good contention here for the big play. He's going Bishop. A little bit too late on him, unless he's running a Sera deck, which he's not. And great. So we have 10 points in the middle. If this wasn't Crimson Cosmos, this would be an easy clap, guys. This would be Destroy Package, Dunzo, easy business. What's also a bummer is that we can't play Debris on the left side. Sadly, which would then go ahead and put a rock with Bishop as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play Debris on the right side to ensure that we get that in the middle. He's snapping, no big deal. Let's play Mysterio in the middle as well. Ooh, this is tough. This is tough. We don't have a lot of options because of these destroy packages. If I'm being honest, we just don't have a lot of options here. Will this be enough to win it? Will this be enough to win it? Probably not. I mean, we could play Bucky just to get some stuff going for Bishop here. But we don't want to destroy our Sera, right? I mean, that'd be pretty stupid. So let's roll it. Maybe he's hoping that we don't put the rock down there. That's what he's banking on. And he's playing heavy left side. American Chavez, Swarm. Probably another Swarm. No big deal. He was not expecting the rock. This was huge. And this is what I'm talking about. The disruption package is so much better than people think, right? Because you're able to do things that your opponent's just not expecting by any stretch of the imagination. So even though we didn't have major cards, again, look at this, guys. Like, look at the power. We had 30 power on the right side, largely in part to Mojo here. We messed up his plan in the middle. Sera did great. We didn't even get the destruction package off. Bucky was just going in as a freaking 1 power card. We have a rock in the other. So this was a great example of a weird battle gone right. All right, now we're going to mix things up. We're going to be playing with more of a discard Sera combo. Again, there's so many different Sera Miracle decks that I play with, but I want to show this one because I think it's pretty important. And then, of course, we'll even do an extra battle and show just a pool 2 battle. But here we go. We've got Maximus, we've got Wing, Swarm, and Angela, so some great cards out the bat. If we can play Angela down, we can get some good Swarm combos going early. And our first location is Dark Dimension. One that I did not mention on the video, but one that just sucks. Bishop doesn't get anything out of there. Mysterio doesn't synergize well there. There's just not a lot of great things about Dark Dimension, other than maybe hiding my Maximus till the end of the game. Because also, Scarlet Witch can't change it. So, he played Iron Fist in Super Flow. That is usually an instant retreat. I feel like if I snap here, he's just going to retreat. You know what? Let's do it. Let's pressure him early on. We'll play Angela. I could have played my Angela lane on the right side instead. And you could do a destroy package on Dark Dimension as well. Like things you want to keep hidden, right? It's doing the job for you. So he's playing Human Torch. An interesting card. I think it's just tough to protect with Killmongers if I were to run that in this package. And we'll get a bunch of extra energy. Now, that doesn't do us a lot of good. Oh, man. It doesn't do us a lot of good, but we can play Sera early. Dude, that sucks. That's a bummer. That's okay, though. We'll make this work. Okay. So, with that being said, that kind of sucks. Let's just bank that we're going to get Scarlet here. Good gosh. Good gosh. We'll put Maximus behind here for now and play the hidden play there. Oh boy, oh boy. All right, so we've got to focus now on the middle location and the left location to win this. We're going to play Sera early in the middle, and we can now start having some fun with this. I think we can still win. That being bar with no name is always the risk of playing Angela early, but it is what it is, guys. He's going to have to deal with it as well. But his deck's built a little bit more for it with something like Hulkbuster, and he already moved out of that location, which was just so advantageous for himself. All right, so turn 5. Different than usual, but we've got ourselves some cost cards here, reduced, and we want to try to get rid of all of them because it's strong guy, right? We want to see what we can do there. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to go, again, continue to be untraditional. We're going to play Mojo left side. He can't see it, so it doesn't matter. We know American Chavez is coming next turn, which we can use for our Dracula. So let's go ahead and go with the following. We're not going to really get the bonus out of, sadly, out of strong guy, unless things just go perfect, which they won't. So, all right, cool. We're going to go call in wing over here, too. That's not even going to dice up my swarm. That's a bummer as well, because I should have played that in the middle, but it is what it is. We would have gotten 2 free copies of swarm, so a bit of a misplay by myself, but, it's fine. So, this guy just did one of the stupidest things he could have ever done and given us an out of bar with no name. Don't know what he was thinking there. That's actually extremely comical. And gosh, that's just fun. We just won that because of that guy. Thank you so much. Essentially, with this now, Dracula's going to take the points from American Chavez. Angela's going to get boosted up by Strong Guy. And the best part is, because it's discarded, we're going to go ahead and get the Strong Guy bonus too. So I would have a hard time not thinking we're not going to win this. However, let's go ahead and do this. We're going to go ahead and put Angela here, Swarm in the middle. That way we kind of spread out our power a little bit. And we're gonna get the W. That's very nice of that guy to play Cloak for us, man. What a gentleman Pesmaraga is over here. I don't think this guy's gonna be able to beat out the power that we've got, even though he's getting some good Craven. That's the problem with move decks right now, is unfortunately they don't give enough bonuses to outbeat a lot. Colin Wing came up early. That's a bummer, so that means Dracula's not gonna get his bonus, but we still won. So I couldn't leave you guys hanging. We have to play a pool 2 only. Let's say you pulled Sera and you just have your pool 2 cards to work with. I showed you 2 different decks. One was a discard, one was a destroy. We did a lot of destroy ones, so I want to do the discard pool 2 one with you guys instead. Even though both have their kind of pros and cons to them. So right now we do not have Sera. We have Scarlet Witch, Strong Guy, Okoye, and Lizard. And we pulled Sera, which is fantastic on turn 2. So right now, locations, nothing to really worry about. This is definitely an obvious play. We're going to be doing Okoye to boost up the other cards that we can play late with Sera. And I'm already feeling pretty confident about this one. Whether we're playing a good pool 3 deck or not, we've got a lot of power that we can lay down. And as long as we get a discard card, the Swordmaster in there, maybe the Blade, we can go ahead and play our Strong Guy too, which will be fantastic. So Jotunheim, that's a bummer for him. He played Cable there. And let's go to start doing what we do best. I'm going to play Bishop on this turn. Obviously, it's turn 3, so we want to play Bishop, just like all the other decks. He's blowing up his... Oh, man, that's blowing it up so early. You want to hang on to your Killmongers, guys. If you can, A, counter what I'm trying to do. He doesn't know if I have 1 cost. And B, like, there's no value there. Even if that's the only play you have, sometimes it's best to do nothing, right? Cool. So we've got Swordmaster. That's now a 3/7. Tremendous value. Kind of like a Maximus with a Koye there. And we have a few different options to do. I'm going to hang on to him until the last round. Again, we don't want to risk getting rid of our Sera. It's just not quite worth it. So we're going to play Lizard and Scarlet Witch on this turn. I don't love playing Lizard early because, just in case, I don't know. He could just see how to counter the location I'm playing at. And we're playing most likely a Devil Dinosaur deck. He doesn't have Collector out on the field, so I'm not too worried about that. This is good because this is something that you guys will probably play similar in Pool 2, beginning of Pool 3. Because we all know Devil Dinosaur decks are everywhere. All right, guys. Angela, Swordmaster, Sera, Strong Guy, turn 5. Easy decision. No question about it. We're going to be going Sera. Now, where do we play Sera in this specific setup that we have? I'm going to play her left side just to give a little bit extra power over there. He's going to go ahead and armor up Wolverine in the middle. Interesting deck here. Maybe a Destroyer deck. Maybe. We'll have to see. And we don't have Mysterio because, again, this is pool 2. And Mysterio, it sinks not having him because he's just an instant 3 power to Bishop. And that's obviously very great. But we can still make this work. For sure. No, yeah, honestly, we have some good cards here. Unfortunately, if you look at my hand, right, we've got 8 energy. So strong guy is going to have to get the boot. Most likely in this hand. I could surprise him. I could do something like this and get some mass power. I'm already winning these lanes, so that would mean he would have to really spread himself out to beat what I have going on. Wolfsbane on the left also isn't a bad play. So this, we're going to go ahead, though, and play Angela on the right side with Swordmaster and Wolfsbane on the left to guarantee the winning of the left lane. And I feel pretty confident about this. You know, even if he just has Devil Dinosaur, really not a big deal. We're going to feed our Bishop like crazy. We got 11 on that side, so that's a lot to contend with. 14, I mean, on the left side. He has the Destroyer like we thought. But it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. We built for it, you know. We kind of spread ourselves over location. So we beat one of the best Pool 3 decks. Top tier Pool 3 deck with a Sera Miracle Pool 2 deck. And we didn't even have to use Strong Guy. And that's really just the power of great combos, right? You guys saw the last turn, the amount of different plays we could do. Akoya built us up. He didn't counter my Lizard. Bishop got plus, 8 on him because of the minus. We had a huge power on the left side. That's why I love Wolfsbane on the last turn, only costing 2 cost. So this was a great example. You will be going against not a lot of these decks going into Pool 2, but if you do, you have a way to combat it. And there it is, the highly requested deck guide of the Sera Miracle. Now, let me know down below, do you guys like this more in-depth guide, walking you through the turns and the exact strategy? Again, I could have just posted a picture of the deck, but you really need to learn how it works to get the maximum efficiency. Hopefully, today's video helped you learn more about one of the best decks in Marvel Snap. If it did, you can help me out by liking today's video. If you haven't already and you want more deck guides, we got some bangers this week, so subscribe today, and we'll see you next time, and happy snapping.